You just gotta wait, by the way. This part actually sucks, but once you get into it, it's good.
Hello there, welcome to the Firewatch audio tour. My name is Rich Summer. I voiced the character of Henry, the guy that you're currently controlling with those buttons there. And I'll be chatting with you in a little bit. Thanks for checking it out.
Hi, I'm Sean Vanneman. I wrote the bulk of 100% of this game.
Hey, I'm Jake Rodkin. I did a lot of level design, UI design, and worked with everyone on the story for Firewatch.
The game has this weird structure that Chris and I talk about in another tape. This is the first thing I wrote, was this opening of the game that jumps between Henry's life and the trip out to the woods. And I used a little product called Twine to do that, which you can download and use. It's just a very simple choose your own adventure tool. The simplest way to program a video game that one can then share with friends and play.
I think we were worried that the team would sort of perceive Henry as a blank slate, as sort of a generic game player protagonist, and we wanted to make sure, or we wanted to get in everyone's mindset, you're playing as a specific guy with a specific life.
Yeah, there's a reason when you play video games that a lot of your protagonists have amnesia, because it's really difficult when you're driving a character around who knows things about their life, or his or her life, that you, who you ostensibly are that person, don't know. So yeah, we kept trying to write an opening of the game that happened sort of like weeks into Henry's experience, and then quickly realized that it was like, well, why would he not be able to say X? Well, because his relationship with his wife is Y. So, but the player doesn't know that. Yeah. And this was the quickest way to get everybody on board, was to just take the thing that I wrote that answered the question, I think, for Jane and you at the beginning, which was like, who is Henry? And I would write these character profiles that were really bad. And then I went, what if I just let you play a thing, and then you can figure out who he is? And we held on to that until we had the idea to put into the game.
It means that when you're playing Firewatch and Henry and Delilah start talking about Henry's wife, you don't have to learn it through his dialogue, because you made the choices that brought him where he is today. Hi, it's Jake again.
Hey, I'm Chris Remo.
Oh, hey, Chris.
Hi there. I was a game designer and the music composer on Firewatch.
Nice.
So you're hearing now the first piece of interactive music that went into Firewatch. The first piece of music that actually
responds to what you're doing in the game?
Exactly, yeah. So this is a piece of music that's divided into technically 6 parts. And what's happening is, as you're playing through this introductory sequence, when you hit certain points in the narrative, it sends a signal to Wise, which is the name of the audio middleware we're using. And then when Wise gets that signal, it waits until the next sort of musically appropriate transition point. And then when it hits that, it smoothly transitions into the next section of music. And so it creates the effect that you're just listening to one big long piece of music that just happens to be timed very nicely to your playthrough.
It just happens to get sadder and sadder at the exact rate that your life gets sadder and sadder.
Yeah, exactly. This was a challenging process, both because I had no idea what the music should sound like, and also because it was the first interactive piece of music in the game. So the technical sort of just, how does this work, was also a part of it. But as it turned out, this music was changed. I mean, Jake, you may remember this. This music changed relatively little over the course of development in comparison to a lot of.
I think
other music.
it started off as maybe 3 pieces and it expanded out to 5 over development. But other than that, it's one of the first things dropped in, shipped. Get ready to hear about that a lot on this commentary.
I'm Nels Anderson, and I was a designer and gameplay programmer on Firewatch.
I am Jane Ng, and I worked on the 3D environment art in Firewatch.
So you're likely standing at the base of your home away from home, your home in the wilderness. For all intents and purposes, more or less, this is basically just a real straight-up tower like they existed out in the woods, right?
Yeah, I think it is Portland. There's somebody in Portland who was very good about archiving a lot of blueprints about various type of fire lookouts of the state, and we got some, and that's how we started off building the Firewatch. I mean, the lookout tower, just by looking through how they were actually built.
It's slightly taller than a real one, right?
We had to make quite a bit of adjustments because, for example, the stairway you see here, normally fire lookout stairways are not on the outside, but for more interesting gameplay and views for the player, we opted to change that. But ultimately we still wanted the tower to feel like a real tower, so we had to figure stuff like, hey, how does the plumbing actually work? How do they get water? Stuff like that. It actually is very important for a real tower.
And if you go look around the base of the tower, you will actually see a big old plastic cistern.
We are not a survival game of any sort, but it is important to make sure that all that stuff is actually thought out, so the space feels realistic.
Right. You don't want someone playing the game being like, wait a minute. There's no how does this guy drink? How is he not dead?
When I normally play video games, I'm always interested in stuff like, hey, where's the bathroom? Here we have the outhouse and you can go anywhere, but stuff like water is very important. So in a real fire lookout situation, what they do is they will use a cistern, and they will capture rainwater from the roof, and you will actually see that we actually have a little pipe down from the roof. And we even have what they call a first flush filter being there, which is actually what they use.
That's my favorite kind of filter, really.
Yeah, I had to look up what do they do? Because once you go, okay, you collect rainwater from the roof, it won't be all nasty. And then, oh, hey, somebody already figured that out on how to collect rainwater. What do you know?
We actually visited a number of different lookout towers as we were researching the game, and it was always very satisfying to see elements of things we saw in the real world and make their way back into the game, and vice versa.
So we also made sure to have a tab here, like a little faucet, where you can actually get water from the cistern.
Yeah, if you click on it, it will play an animation of a hand gripping a knob and water comes out for 2 seconds. Doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
But it's there.
I think for a while we actually were thinking, should we just let the player turn on the water? Or then what happens if the water just runs out? And then James had a very good idea of just going just make one animation that you turn on the faucet and turn it off immediately, just so that you know, hey, there's water in here and you won't die. That's Henry.
Good morning, Henry. Well, I guess good afternoon. You probably slept like a rock. Anyway, there's still a few hours of daylight to get some work in. I can see you at your desk, so call me when you're ready.
Hey, sorry. Guess I slept in.
You got a relaxing, 14 hours of sleep? Whew.
Yeah, Jesus.
Nels, it feels like you on the team did the most sort of digging about what the real job is like, what is in the actual space, and then checked us against reality when we kind of went off the reservation.
In general, I really like doing research. That's sort of a thing I've enjoyed on all the projects I've worked on. So for this, a bunch of folks on the team read this great book called Fire Season by Philip Connors, which is kind of like a memoir-ish thing from this dude who still is an active fire lookout even today. But I also I called up the Ministry of Forests and Natural Resources here in British Columbia and got redirected to like 3 increasingly small Ministry of Forest offices until someone just gave me literally the phone number of this cool old lady who had once been a fire lookout. So I just kind of chatted with her for like an hour and a half just about what doing the job was like. The reason why the game is not a simulation of being a fire lookout is because what everyone talks about is that the number one challenge with the job is that it is incredibly, impossibly boring.
Because you can't, like, read a book. You can't, like, be doing other things, right? Like,
not really.
Yeah.
At the end of day 3, where Delilah mentions it's like, Karen's like, well, what do I do for the rest of the summer? She's like, you sit in that chair and you look out the window. That is actually what fire lookouts really do. So all the folks I talked to said, like, figuring out ways to combat boredom is the number one thing. The lady I talked to, she said she did a whole lot of needlepoint and cross stitch because you can do that without looking at your hands very much. Obviously, like, lookouts are also responsible for doing, maintenance on their towers. But again, it's like not maintenance because some crazy Yahoo smashed up your tower. It's maintenance like, oh, the paint is kind of flaking off, better paint it, or these trees have grown too tall, so I need to chop them down. Not, I'm chopping down trees to form a weird log bridge.
The main takeaway from whenever we would talk to someone who had done this job is, why would you make a game about that? That is the most boring time of my entire life. So hopefully we showed them how.
It feels like people who do this job like fall into 2 camps, right? They're the people who think they can do it and can't hack it and bail after like a month or 2. People like Jack Kerouac, who tried to do this and wrote about it in Desolation Angels, and then he went crazy from a lack of cigarettes and then left. Or the people who kind of enjoy the solitude and then figure out ways to deal with it. But, we do have like a lot of the window dressing for the stuff people use. Like other folks I talk to, it's like, what do you do? Well, we read a lot of books and we like trade the books between the different lookouts through rangers and stuff like that. So of course, Firewatch has a crap ton of weird books in it. Stuff like that.
Hey, I found a note to a guy named Ron from some guy. Dave?
That's probably Dave Gaskell. He's completely nuts.
Is that right?
Harmless, but yeah.
Hi there, it's Jake.
And Chris again.
Hey, so here we are in the cache box clearing, or at least I guess that's what we call it. There's a lot of cache boxes in Firewatch, but this was the first one that we placed into the game.
For a long time, this was the cache box.
It was the cache box, even though we knew we wanted to have more. This area was actually one of the first areas that we've built out to any degree that looks like a piece of the world. It was a really good proving ground for us. Like when me and Nels Anderson were grayboxing the world at the very beginning, we tried a million different things. Like maybe this was on the edge of a cliff, or maybe it was a secret that you had to find. And I think it was Sean who suggested that he really wanted it to feel like a warm, sort of enclosed space, like you've stumbled onto a little glen and you want to stay there for a while, which I think makes sense because we wanted people to actually stop and poke around and have it not feel like the woods.
This was an area with a lot of firsts. I remember this really ended up looking a lot like Ollie's concept art in a way I think that felt like an accomplishment when it all got built out. It was also the first audio I implemented in the entire game, I believe.
The Foley on the locks and the lid?
Right, exactly.
Oh, this was, man, this was also, the cache box was also our proving ground for detailed object interaction with Henry animating the lock. And also, there's an exit out if you back up and turn left. That was the first time I prototyped one-way drops and also any like sort of secret paths, because the way that you cross the canyon also showed up here, and I didn't tell anyone on the team about it for like months, and people only noticed it once they started playing the back half of the game, and it was very fulfilling for me.
Nice.
Cache box.
Cache box, land of firsts and secrets.
That's the state flag of cache boxes.
Jake,
Oh, hey, Sean.
you did a neat thing here in the game that I like a lot, which is when you make a dialogue choice with Delilah about what this dangerous hill should be called. It shows up on your map, and I like that a lot.
Yeah, when we were putting the map system together, well, actually, the map weirdly was one of the latest things, one of the final things to come into the game as a fully fleshed out piece. But an upside of that is we built the map using a lot of tools we already had. For instance, the system that checks which things you haven't talked about, which things you haven't found in the game. Use the same variable list as our speech system. So when I was putting this together, I realized, oh, not only can I put a mark down on the map when Henry finds it or talks about it, but I can totally look at the same tools we use for dialogue and figure out what the player said and put it on the map. And the end result felt really natural. I actually wish we'd gone a little deeper on it in the game, but I'm really happy with what's in there right now. Also, please name this shitty boss is going to get me killed, because that's objectively the best name for the hill.
Is that your handwriting?
Yeah, you got to cram that in there, but it's still readable.
It is a hell of a nice camping spot down here by the lake.
I haven't been down there in years, but yeah, Jonesy Lake area is perfect.
Hi, this is Ollie Moss, and I was the art director on Firewatch.
I'm Jane.
Hi, Jane.
Let's talk about this teen
let's
party
talk about
zone.
Let's talk about the Teen Zone. So the Teen Zone is one of the first areas that we used as a sort of art test to see how we would go about building them.
You from the pretty early on that on day one, you will start from the tower, and you will have to head down to the lake. And somewhere in between, you will see some teens, and they're partying. And so we call this the teen zone, because this is where all the teen stuff is.
Yeah, and it was important to us that the reveal that it was a group of teens was communicated through the level design. So the idea was that you just kind of like walk through some trees and burst out into this scene where a campfire was still burning.
And you had a pretty strong idea of what you wanted to look like.
Yeah, I just wanted to put some big angular rocks in there, which is basically the like my modus operandi for the entire game. But we wanted to have a big angular sort of rock, which became known as Pride Rock because it looked so much like the rock from the Lion King.
We did name that Pride Rock, didn't we? That rock does serve as a very strong landmark pretty early in the game, and it kind of does point the player in the right direction.
Exactly. Should we talk a little bit about our process for designing these areas?
So in the beginning, when we just have no concept art, we will just mock it out with just literally just gray boxes and a gray terrain. And then we will take screenshots and give it to Ollie to be like, please pretty this up, Ollie.
Oh, well, first of all, I'll do a terrible garbage sketch and pitch it to the team. And if people like the gist of it, then we'll go away and do a bit more of a detailed drawing, and then you would go.
Yeah, we'll add in some more shapes. And then we just keep going back and forth with paint overs from Ollie.
And then it's just a sort of tennis, really, just back and forth between the two of us until everyone's happy with what we have.
Yeah.
I'm staring at the big outcropping down here, but I'm
Hey
not
man,
quite
it's
sure where to
Elijah.
look for our pyrotechnicians.
Maybe keep heading west toward the lake.
Finding a bunch of empty beer cans. They threw them all over hell.
Are you fucking serious?
What's up, dude?
Sure am.
I would like to retract my statement about knuckle sandwiches. Feet away.
What do you know? People with shitty manners drink shitty beer.
What, you don't like a cold Musquelite on a hot day?
No, I do. But then again, I didn't say my manners were any good. Better than these fucking litter bugs, though, that's for sure. Oh, look, they decided to have a campfire, too.
You know, they color-coded the fire danger signs in case people were illiterate. But I guess that doesn't take into account just plain stupid, does it?
They left half a bottle of whiskey. Decent stuff.
Drunk pyromaniacs. Fucking great.
Found the fireworks. They didn't even try to hide them.
Ugh. Well, confiscate them.
They left their packs tied up here.
Don't fuck with them. The last thing we need is some hikers filing a report about harassment.
Well, I put out their fire.
Man, I would have named that forest fire something good, too.
Hey, I can always restart it.
No. I think your first instinct was the right one.
Well, they left their clothes out to dry. It looks like two people. What if they're naked?
Won't that be exciting? Look, they're obviously still there, so tell them off and then head back.
I found a bra.
A nudie pyromaniac. Remain professional.
There are, panties?
There are what?
I don't want to say that word again.
Why, 'cause you're 12?
There's ooh.
Yes?
There are two naked ladies out here.
Can you handle that?
Come on, I like naked ladies, same as anyone, but there's, you know. Yeah.
I know this will be tough for you, but try to pick your tongue up off the ground and do your job.
Okay. I found them in the lake.
Skinny dipping.
Yeah.
Is that a guy over there? Oh boy. Enjoy dealing with that.
My name is Patrick Ewing. I worked on tools and gameplay programming.
The teens, Patrick.
Let's open some old wounds here.
This is like going back to like an old battleground and being like on these
Exactly.
hallowed grounds.
Yeah, I
Bad
died on
things
this hill.
happened. I died on this hill.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of the most complex interactions in the game, if not the most, right?
Yeah.
And it was in the game from the very first vertical slice we did, and then I think we kind of added to it as we played through it and saw like, oh, we should be able to throw the boombox in the lake, obviously, right? Okay, the teens need to react to the boombox being in the lake. Oh, but then they should also react to you putting it down.
What you should do if you're making a video game is build relatively ironclad, predictable AI and systems that react to inputs. But instead, we built a series of relatively flimsy state machines that were like, if this, if this, if this, but not when, and also if.
Right.
And we're able to create this scene as designed. And Patrick was sort of the shepherd of this scene. So whenever anything would break, if you were to throw the boombox and the teens were not to respond, or you leave with the boombox and they would talk about something else, it was Patrick's job to ferret into the state machine and figure out what was going on.
Yeah, and I'm happy with how it turned out. There are so many different ways that this scene can play out now, depending on what you choose to do. Do you throw the fireworks at them? Do you talk to them and then start messing up their stuff and throwing it in? And it ends up being pretty like believable. They feel like real characters. It's just such a crazy spaghetti code in the back end that I'm always terrified when I see someone play through it, that there's some interaction that we didn't think about.
Right now the player is interacting with the teens in a way that is completely not by the book. And
I mean, luckily we
beads
haven't...
of sweat are building on your brow.
Yeah, I think it's just a PTSD response at this point. We would see the bug reports if this was actually still breakable.
Yeah.
What is it?
Look, I was drunk last night when I welcomed you to the job.
Yeah, well, you're not the first boss to be guilty of that.
I know, I know I can get a little pushy, putting you on the spot about why you're out here and stuff.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, I'll try to make it up to you.
Hi, everyone. This is Ben Burbank. I'm a programmer at Campo Santo, predominantly doing graphics work and performance stuff. And I'm here with Jane.
Hi, I'm back.
And we're going to talk a little bit about, in general, how the world sort of streams in. This is a big open world game. There are, like, what, tens of thousands of trees somewhere in there?
Yeah, and we have how many chunks of the world that we stream in and out?
There are 100 plus.
Yeah, I think over 120.
One of the big challenges with that was we have to remove parts of it when you're not looking at it, because video game consoles and computers don't like to draw things that aren't seen.
Especially not a lot of trees.
Yeah, it's a lot of work for that little graphics card to do to try and draw all those that big forest. So the canyon's one of the spots where we have like obvious occlusion where you can't see most of the world. So we unload like the tower hub. The tower that you see in the canyon is fake. It's a small fake version.
Yeah.
Which is a common trick.
Yeah, so it's like a very low cost version of what it would actually be there.
One of the biggest challenges for Jane and people building the levels was figuring out line of sight. So how far can you see? Like if you have a point where you can see entirely across the map, we had to be very careful about what is actually loaded and what's actually drawing.
Yeah, so even though the canyon is pretty much a straight corridor, we had to put in some kinks in there. So, like right sort of in the middle, there's a little area where you have to go around a rock. This is so that we could make sure you won't be looking at the lake when we basically delete it out of the world.
Yeah. The game also, it's sort of non-linear. Like there's a linear story going on, but there's the ability for the player to just go backwards. So we also had to keep in mind like reverse line of sight and things like that, which is a little different than a traditional action game or something.
Yeah, it's kind of like a little puzzle game almost to figure out when we stream in and out things. So hopefully you don't notice any of it, because if you do, that's actually us not doing a great job.
You probably will notice it though sometimes. I'm sorry about that.
Henry, there's something
I love the little details in Firewatch's branching dialogue. There are a lot of very subtle, hard-to-notice things that Sean put in while writing it that you really couldn't notice without multiple playthroughs, but they add up to this feeling that you're talking to real people who, just like real people, kind of echo back things you said earlier, who, continue in-jokes that have been established, et cetera, et cetera. And one of the subtlest that I don't think I even noticed till I was rewiring the game midway through is the spooky figure who you meet towards the end of day one.
Spooky figure. If the teens call you a creep, Henry calls the guy who's putting a flashlight in his face a creep.
Right.
And he goes, "There's some guy out here creeping," or he says something like, "He's a creep out here." She's like,
Yeah.
"A creep, Henry?" He's like,
Right.
"Yeah, there's a guy who's spooking me out here. I don't like it." And I mean, I like doing stuff like that. I pay a lot of attention to the sort of infectiousness of language.
Yeah.
Especially in this office, someone will start using a turn of phrase that then I'll be at lunch with someone later, or I'll be out with Jake or whatever, and then I'll hear the phrase
Theory crafting
through them,
Yeah.
where it's like, like if somebody was saying, "Oh, there was a total creep outside at the bus stop," then it wouldn't be long, like 18 hours later, it would be totally conceivable to hear Jake be like, "Oh yeah, that guy's kind of a creep. I don't know if we should have him by or whatever."
Yep.
And I'd be like, "Man, okay, like that word is now like bubbling along the surface of our social network here." And people are like that. People are weird, sort of like passive, like non-participatory sponges sometimes.
Yeah.
And I just like putting that stuff in the writing. And you can do that in games in a way that you can't do that in other media. If you do that in like a book or something, it's so double underlined that it feels like you're making a big point as an author. But in a game, because it's player driven and it's passive, it just feels causal and the way the world.
Typewriter is on the ground outside of my tower.
You right?
Yeah, look, the wind? No. How the hell?
You should get inside.
Fuck me. Someone broke in.
Hey, what?
They wrecked the place. Threw my typewriter out the window. Motherfucker.
Holy shit. I'll let the Forest Service know what happened.
place is trashed.
Okay, I put in a call.
That was fast.
Yeah, well, do you have any idea who could have done this?
I did probably piss off the girls at the lake. Ugh, fuck them.
Well, I'll have the Rangers keep an eye out for a couple of young women and question any they find. I can't believe someone would do this. I worry about bears and fires, and that's about it. And now I've got to worry about some, violent campers? Okay, in the morning I'm gonna call my friend Patty, who works the desk down in Cody. They keep a list of everyone who's officially been in and out of the trailhead since, I don't know, forever, and see if we can get a list of names. We won't get much, but at least if anything else happens, we can refer to it and see if anything comes up.
Thanks.
I need you to feel safe out here.
Don't worry about it.
Oh, you can protect yourself, huh?
I've done it before.
Okay, tough guy. Wake up. Hey, wake up.
I'm awake. What's your problem?
Our problem.
Sorry, our problem.
That storm knocked out the phone line I used to talk to the service, which means we're cut off. I tried radioing out, and that's not working either. I don't really know why that would be the case.
Can I go fix it?
Well, you probably can't, but what you can do is hike out to where the wire runs through your area and report back if it's down. Danger to get someone on it.
Okay, I can do that. Where is it?
Remember that cave you hiked through yesterday?
Yeah, of course.
So you're gonna want to go back there, go through it, and keep going straight to the north when you come out.
Will do.
Thanks, Hank.
It's Henry.
What, you don't like Hank?
Yeah, I don't like Hank.
But thanks rhymes with Hank.
No, it doesn't.
Okay, all right.
Oh, it's actually pretty damn cold out here.
Roger that. Warms up fast. The mornings are cold in Boulder, though, right?
Yeah, they are.
What did you get up to down there? I mean, what's life like?
I just spend a lot of time with Julia.
Oh, so you have someone there.
Well,
But you're taking a little break. Or...
we're...
Look, I'm sorry. Can you hold that thought?
Sure. Just gonna keep hiking and hoping it warms up.
Heyo. I don't think so. Why, have you? Okay, good. No, I don't think he has any idea. I'm absolutely sure. Would you? All right. I'll let you know if anything changes in that regard. Hey, sorry about that. Anyway, Julia, girlfriend? Ex? Sorry, I don't mean to pry.
Who was that?
Who is who?
I don't think he has any idea. What was that? Were you talking about me?
What?
You left your button pressed or something.
Henry, that call was work. I was just talking to... Actually, it's not really your business. Why are you freaking out?
I'm not freaking out.
Good. I'm gonna go quiet for a little bit. Call me if it's important.
Wow, there's an old, I think it's called a medicine wheel out here.
Yeah, it was made by Crow American Indians hundreds of years ago. There are lots of small ones. Have you ever been to Medicine Wheel Monument over in the Bighorns?
Well, I sure haven't.
Well, it's worth a 3-hour detour on the way home in August.
Neat. I'll keep it in mind. So, I'm at the medicine wheel.
So you're near your lookout.
Yeah, sure. I'm just wandering around in the forest, and I haven't seen one of the Red Eagle cans for miles.
That's a tough one. Why don't you try getting out of the woods so you can get a better view? Find a vista or a lookout point.
Okay, I'll try that. Hey, who are these guys, Ron and Dave? They're leaving notes for each other in the boxes. Is there any chance one of them was that guy I saw in the canyon? You know, the guy with the flashlight?
No, they're both rangers. They're not out here this season. I didn't really know him that well, but I always assumed the only thing Ron cared about was chasing tail and getting loaded. It's somehow comforting to know that he was able to keep up a correspondence with someone who wasn't going to send him a topless Polaroid.
I feel like I'm going to be murdered when I'm in the outhouse.
Feeling a little exposed, are we?
Hey, no man in the history of the world has felt tough with his pants around his ankles.
Well, be strong. You can always call
Hey, it's Ollie again.
And Jake.
Hey, Jake.
So I feel that we're right now in close proximity to Forrest Burns.
I think the idea for Burns came around when we realized that Smokey the Bear was not a public domain figure. And we realized, but also something that people associate really closely, the idea of a mascot with wilderness parks.
Right, so what if we created something far worse than Smokey the Bear?
What if we made something horrifying and strange? And I mean, the original idea was that as the game kind of built up, you'd find these Forrest Burns posters that would get gradually more sinister and be this sort of like externalization of Henry's inner paranoia sort of creeping in. But
that did not happen.
We didn't do that. We just made a wacky character and stuck him in the game.
I think there's one of the Forrest Burns posters survives in a couple places.
Mhm,
like Delilah's Tower at the end has the Forrest Burns Can Dig It poster. But the one that says "Snuff It Out" with him holding a match
Does
at
not
the
appear
face,
in the game.
at the face of a child. Yeah, it's not there.
No, that's out.
Yeah, I know. Even up until like up until the moment that Forrest Burns went into the game, I feel like there was a hesitance from the team to include him in the game. But you
I went and just put him in.
you like rogue modeled the Forrest Burns stand-up, and then right before the GDC demo, I put him on the back of the outhouse, and then it turns out that he was really fun. Fun Forrest Burns fact: for a while, you could use him as a physics object, and then we've discovered that you could like surf Forrest Burns and use him to get to inaccessible areas. So you can no longer do that, unfortunately.
That's much to my chagrin.
Yeah, surf Burns down the shell slide, not allowed. Anyway, that's him. Enjoy him.
Yep.
Use him well.
Oh, sorry, Hank.
I can see the wire you're talking about. It looks like it's in good shape from here.
We'll follow it up to the top of the trail if you can. You can head back as soon as you give me the all clear.
Got it. So we really can't reach anyone any other way than these wires?
What else do you suggest? Smoke signals?
Just seems dangerous.
Well, if they don't hear from me for a few days, they'll send someone out, but I'd rather it not come to that.
Guess what?
What is it?
There's a bunch of empty cans up here.
Same as before?
Yep.
These fucking kids.
How can these girls be so stupid?
Trust me, I never underestimate the stupidity of a drunk teenager. Also, I never underestimate the balls of a drunk young woman, having been one.
Hey, Chris again.
And Sean.
Hey, if you saw the second trailer for Firewatch, there's a moment that takes place here where Delilah points out that there's someone in Henry's tower. Henry points out that he's not there. Camera swings back to the tower, and it's a big dramatic ending. Of course, that moment happens in a completely different part of the map in the actual game and has totally unrelated to this moment that you're now experiencing.
And this was a trailer that we had debuted with Sony at E3, so we knew we had a big audience and that a lot of people were going to see it. It's really, really challenging. I mean, you all know, because everyone goes to movies, what it's like to watch a trailer for a movie that you're excited about and maybe have already decided to see and then be shown too much stuff.
Yeah.
And every once in a while, a movie either has like the ability to or sort of the chutzpah to just show you a scene that hit the cutting room floor or an alternate version of something that gets you feeling the way you should feel and excited for the movie as presented, but doesn't spoil it for you. And I think I'm really happy that we ended up doing that. I think it's good. Like, you're not lying. It's not like we showed you a mechanic that you can't do or anything like that.
I think that we basically had to find a way to accurately convey the type of tension and mood of the game without spoiling it. And so we basically ended up just writing those trailers to fit. I think it worked.
Yeah.
Don't hold your breath. I'd start by hiking back towards your tower and just keep an eye out for anything that would lead you to them.
Oh, they're big into Red Eagle.
Great. See if you can find the path they took down from there. Maybe they looped back around towards the lake or something. I doubt they're where they were yesterday, but they obviously can't have gone far.
Hi, it's Ben.
Oh, it's Jake. Hey, Ben. So let's talk about Henry's camera, or I guess more specifically, the Goodwin family camera. We liked the idea of Brian and his dad bringing one of those little cardboard cameras out with them, and we had thought at various points in production maybe we should cut taking photos because it's really complicated. Maybe you should just see the ones at the end in the credits and be shocked by the Goodwin family.
When I joined the project, I actually was super excited about this feature. I liked the idea of having the camera have a little bit of a real-world feel to it. People seem to like when you showed an animated GIF of it on Twitter. People went crazy remembering these things.
Especially once the idea was proposed that on PC you could print out your photos or you could upload them to the internet and get them developed, which is the thing that we do.
Yeah, the photos that we take are actually secretly 5 megapixel, first generation digital camera quality photos, but just good enough that if you print them out, they look okay.
Yeah, once we went all in on that as a concept, it seemed like having the camera in the game was an essential no-brainer, and then we went all in on making it work like a real camera. We really wanted, you'll have a fixed number of shots you can take. Every time you take a picture, Henry has to wind the camera by hand.
And some players ignore it and don't take pictures. They'll take the 2 that Delilah tells you to, and then the end credits will play and they'll see 2 pictures and maybe have a little feeling of loss that they didn't participate in that feature.
Yeah, or people who get super bummed because they get really into the mystery and take pictures of strange machines and ripped up campsites and a dead Brian Goodwin, and then get to the end credit sequence and go, oh, that was me.
Yeah, they only see the sad things.
I
Those
like
people
that
win.
depending on how much you use the camera and what you choose to take a picture of, you end up getting a different story at the end of the game. That's the thing that I think worked out the best with the camera and made me the happiest that we actually went all out on building this stupid thing.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Hiking to do. Might get bored.
Well, I'm bored as rocks, so I'll keep you company while you find those girls, huh?
Someone found a fossil and put it in a cash box.
Could be the same person who left that antler.
And maybe they're leaving me an entire creature, piece by piece. I see a really thin plume of smoke.
Yeah, I see it too. A thin plume like this is either a new fire or a campfire.
Campfire. You think it's them?
I reckon so.
It looks like it's to the southwest of me.
Hi, I'm Will, and I was the gameplay and systems programmer on Firewatch.
And I'm James, and I was the animator on Firewatch.
And we're here to talk about climbing and mantling today.
We had a bunch of stuff that essentially was more point-to-point interactive stuff, where you sort of like look to the rock you wanted to put your hand on and click on it, and you'd kind of do that. A lot of the platforming-y type stuff just got pared down because as you make the game, you realize what game you're making, and it's not really about being an athletic climbing person. It just kind of like made the game slower when you were trying to get to the next conversation. Mostly what the climbing stuff ended up being useful for in like game design terms was characterization. So some of the mantles do a decent job of getting across that Henry is kind of a lumbering, slightly heavier person, as we sort of like force you to watch Henry kind of slug over an edge rather than being a nimble, mirror's edgy person.
We also use it a lot of times to break up sightlines so that you get a good vista as you come up over a mantle, like when you see the man with the flashlight for the first time, or kind of see the burned forest.
In the cave, sometimes we use the camera animation on mantles to hide a sort of teleport to a different part of the cave, which was pretty useful actually, so that was quite good.
The reason that it all got pared down is we didn't want you to ever fall off the cliff, didn't want you to back down them. Like, nobody ever wanted to climb back up those twice, so we just made them simpler and simpler and simpler until eventually getting to you just hit the button and climb all the way up.
One of the earliest conversations I had with Jake, he just sort of casually mentioned, oh, and we're thinking that you can't die in this game, and which now seems like the most obvious design decision ever for Firewatch, but I'd only been making games before then where it's like, yeah, and then you have your character can die and you respawn and da-da-da, like traditional video game stuff. And the idea suddenly of like, oh, like how do you make content that still feels like I'm climbing over stuff and I'm doing things, but with absolutely no risk? And I remember at the very beginning being like, oh god, is that going to be a huge problem? Of course now, if you ever saw Henry fall to his death in the game, it would be ludicrous and ruin the moment.
Absolutely.
But Firewatch 2 is going to have lots and lots of falling to your death, obviously.
I'm on top of a natural bridge out here.
Really? Is it a complete arch?
No, I guess the bridge is out here. Still, I think I could jump this gap to get across the canyon.
Well, you're a regular Evel Knievel.
Oh yeah, you should see the jumpsuit I'm wearing.
Hey, Jane.
Hi, Jake. Let's talk about how I almost killed you over this canyon crossing.
Why would anyone have any objection to something in a game as lovely as this area?
So originally, when we first built this whole canyon, you can only walk through the bottom where the creek is.
It looks really lovely when you're walking along the bottom looking up.
And you cannot get close to anything.
You can just imagine what the top of the canyon looks like, and you don't ever have to see it or make it.
Basically, there was nothing up here.
But what if, think about this though, what if you could walk across the top of it and look down, and then we built all of that too?
I just remember the day when you mocked this out in the paper map and just gingerly just showed it to me. And then I looked at it and I was like,
what's that line? What's that line doing going over there?
No way, Jake.
There was no way I was going to win that. I mean, I ended up just building a lot of it myself to try
and I think you were like, okay, how about this other thing? I was like, okay, this other thing is fine, but this is definitely not happening.
I just secretly built a million walls and trees and did every single thing that I possibly could to make it so
but
you would
look at it.
You did
a good job though, because the thing I was really worried about was when you're up there, you end up seeing basically the whole length of the canyon, and then also all the way to basically towards Delilah's tower, which means it's way
all the way through the Beartooth Point
area. It would
area,
be way too much game to try to draw.
Mule Point.
So that
exactly.
that was the original sort of
It was a lot
fear.
of very careful, like, then you go around this turn, and then you secretly drop down 3 feet, and a bunch of huge trees come up. I was very happy that we were able to get the canyon crossing in, because it's one of the few places where I think you do a total figure 8 over yourself.
It was nice that you managed to problem solve all the sightline areas before I lose my mind.
Thanks for not killing me. I'm alive to be on this commentary track.
What does she have?
She's got Alzheimer's, like, dementia.
Whoa. How old was she?
Is she? She's alive. She's with her family in Melbourne, Australia. She's 43.
Fuck.
Yeah.
What was it like when you guys found out?
Devastating. Especially for her. You can understand.
And for you?
We meet again, Widowmaker. You haven't beat me yet.
You ready to give it another shot?
Do I seriously have to?
To get down to 5 Mile Creek? Yeah, afraid so. It's quite a ways downhill from here.
Hi, this is Will.
And this is James again.
We're talking about the rope right now. You should be one nearby.
Yeah, the rope was the very, very first thing I ever did on the entire game. It kind of seeped into being quite an important part of the world layout. We sort of had this whole Metroidvania items thing, and the rope was very much our first, like, that's the rockets that let you get through the door in Metroid. It was such an early flag we planted in the ground for ourselves. So, yeah, there were lots of technical things, weren't there?
All the rope climbs are different. All the rope slides are different. Minorly different, but different enough. So the rope had to be physically simulated. It couldn't be just a pre-canned animation. In order to get that to work, took a ton of time, lots of iterations. In the end, I had to basically make Henry's hand a gravity well whenever he's on the rope, and then grab the nearest parts of the rope and reskin them to bones that I was just making out of math around Henry's hand and belt. So his left hand, right hand, and belt are all take over as fake bones, and we reskin the rope every frame to get that to match up perfectly. And if you look real close at the rope, you can see sort of a little bit in front of his hands, the texture on it. The tiling changes and kind of squishes and stretches and squishes and stretches as you go down, and that's because the rope position doesn't naturally always line up with even spacing when I swap in those fake bones.
Yeah, the rope is one of the best examples if you were to zoom the camera out and look at what's going on, where I'm sort of animating by the seat of my pants and just keeping his hands in the perfect position so that that transition between the physics rope and the skinning version of the rope, doesn't blend too strangely. And it's probably the set of animations in the game that has the most versions made. There's probably 10 different versions of climbing down. There used to be things where your hands would swap in front of you, picking the rope from one to the other, and obviously that is unbelievably, ridiculously complicated once we had a physical rope. And
nice thing is you can get on it from anywhere and at any time, and it all works. So it was worth it in the end, but quite a bit of effort.
Hi, this is Ben again, and I'm here with Paolo.
Hello.
We're going to talk about stylistic fog and some of the other effects in the game.
For the stylistic fog, we basically use the same approach that we use for the other rendering components and technologies of Firewatch, which was how do we get something that allows Ollie and Jane to really just be directive and paint colors and information like they want into a 3D world. So the only challenge that was there really was, how do we translate sort of a 3D scene that has depth into it into layers of colors? And immediately we came up with this technique of using a one-dimensional texture that is applied. You can imagine that the image, it's a sort of a rectangular image, goes from left to right. Imagine that left is the color that is closer to the player and right is the color that is in the distance. So in that way, you are basically able to paint color in the depth of the world, and that really gave Jane and Ollie the control they needed to make the Firewatch colors as beautiful as they are.
Yeah, it really matches a lot of Ollie's original like poster and previs work for the game.
Yeah.
And that technique is used a lot in like film. In film, they wouldn't even just use one texture. Sometimes they'll use like hundreds of these strips to layer out an entire scene. But can't do that in a video game because we got to render it a lot of frames per second on bad computers sometimes.
Yeah, and for that, like for the color correction specifically, we used the plugin that was actually available on the Unity Asset Store, and it just worked right off the bat for us. It gave us sort of the real-time tweaking that we needed, and thanks to that, we saved some development time, which was really precious.
Yeah, there's the amplify color if you're really want to make your own Firewatch. And in an area like this Aspen Grove, you can see all those effects coming together. You see we have God rays coming from the sun, we have depth of field. If you pick up an object to blur out the world, you can see all the different colors that Ollie's manipulating beyond just like what the sky and light would provide.
Yeah, awesome.
Hi, this is Ollie again.
And this is Syndra. I worked as a character artist.
One of the most important things about this game, from our point of view, was to try and get the player to kind of inhabit this character Henry, and a big part of that was his character design. We wanted him to be a little different to the regular kind of character you might expect from this kind of game. He's a little older, a little more portly, and we wanted to make sure that, you know, when you look down, you can see your body and you really like feel as if you are playing this character. And to do that, I designed him from the point of view of like trying to make him feel like an older man in terms of the way he moved and he looked. We used a lot of, I guess, reference for this, particularly comedian Louis C.K. was one of these.
Yeah, I had like a mood board that I made that's just essentially just like a collage of Louis C.K. and there was also a fair bit of like Wreck-It Ralph and like the Heavy from Team Fortress, sort of like these heavy, sort of slow moving characters. So actually, when I was modeling, I would actually put like a camera in Henry's head so I could look down at his body, which is like, I think most designed characters for third-person games and mobile and stuff like that, I was not used to, you know, designing anything from that perspective. The initial model I sent you guys was pretty much just a bunch of primitives mashed together, like really rough, sort of like, you know, early Dreamcast 3D kind of looking stuff, just to get like a feel for the, you know, just proportions and to give James something to rig so he could just get something moving and kind of get a preview of the motions, because, you know, you don't need like a fully formed, highly detailed 3D model to just do animation. So actually nailing that stuff early on was really important, I think.
One of the biggest focuses was the hands, because those are the things that the player sees the most, and they're the most sort of expressive Henry. So we wanted to make sure that the shapes were really simple and bold and evocative in order to allow James, our animator, kind of give him the best material to work with and portray the character through those motions.
Yeah, they're practically the main character.
Hey, Henry?
Yeah.
What do you look like?
Why are you asking?
Because I'm horribly superficial.
Do you know Raleigh Fingers? He pitched for the A's.
No.
Well, I'm the spitting image of him.
Oh, wait, is he the guy with the snidely whiplash thing going on from the 70s? Ooh, my dad loved him.
Yeah, that's him.
mustache. Now you have my attention. Rawr.
Okay.
Okay, well, that gives me a good start. Now let's see. In my scope, I can only tell you're a white guy wearing shorts.
And maybe, by the way, I'm not white. It's not very, PC.
Hello. What is it?
Or whatever they say.
Is it Firewatch?
God, you are the whitest man. Wow. I don't need a spotting scope for that. And if not shorts, then what do you normally like to wear?
I don't know. I like to look nice.
Well, I think
usually.
it's a really good
Well,
game.
Try now, I guess.
Had a bit of a schlubby period, did we?
Yeah, a good 25, 30 years.
I already beat it like once, but I'm replaying it.
A clean shirt?
Yeah. Well,
It takes like 6 hours to complete it.
Christmas, actually. Just,
I was streaming yesterday the whole time I played it.
I like it. I don't wear it that much, though.
Well, it sounds just perfect. Now tell me about your face. I'm looking at you across the bar. What do I see?
Well, I have a thin mustache, real thin mustache. I got a long scar, goes down across my eye, down my cheek.
Well, I just
Dead by Daylight?
for thin mustaches. The thinner
I think you would like it, but I don't like it just because it's so tryhard.
and a horrible scar. Just perfect. I want to know about your
You know, it'd be the best game ever.
I'm drawing you. I need to know.
Firewatch multiplayer.
Is that okay?
That would be really good. That'd be like you're doing the whole campaign with other people. That'd be awesome.
They're happy, I think.
Yeah.
I've been told they look happy.
Julia told you that, huh?
Look, I don't know how to describe eyes.
Nice. I'm going to my dad's in like an hour, by the way.
Oh, and that
I know.
that show. So, what should I do now? What's next?
What's next? What do you think is next?
Well, you've been
Yeah, and
working tasks for
yesterday.
2 days straight.
What's next is
Well, I stay over at my dad's
call me at the first sign of smoke.
all week because I don't sleep good at my mom's.
I'll give it to you.
No.
Okay, I think I am ready to tackle my long-term commitment of keeping this national forest safe from total destruction.
I am glad to hear you've really thought this through.
Of course.
We've issued you a comfy chair to sit in and everything.
You know, it's not really that comfy. It's wooden and there's no padding. I think I actually got a splinter in my thigh this morning.
Aww. Regardless, take a seat. The forest depends on you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Dude, that sucks. I Oh yeah. I didn't. I don't know. I'm looking through my list right now. PUBG. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, finally. I hate that. That game is so hard. Maybe get Sniper Elite 4. No, that's like dying. That's like sounds like Dead by Daylight. But Sniper Elite 4, it's like you're a sniper and your job is to basically like kill Hitler, and um you you have to like complete tasks, right? But you don't have to hide. You could go in guns blazing if you want. It's really fun. It's like The Last of Us, but if it was in, how much is it? How is it that much? I got it for free. What? Rock. Rocket League came out in 2015, and it is it. Yeah, but you need a. No, it's not. It's $20 still. Rainbow. We should play that again. That was so much fun. I like that. I'm looking. They got 60. Oh my god. Hold up. I don't even care anymore. They have 60 seconds. Ramona, I swear to God, 60 seconds, the game where you survive a nuke. I hate my dog. It's a very good game. Or The Witness. Oh my god. I fucking hate my dog. It's the hardest game ever, though. Literally, it is guaranteed to be the hardest game ever. Bitch, I'm a fucking hump. I kicked the mattress that my dog was on, and then she came at me, and it looked like she was gonna bite me, so I yelled and screamed. What did you do if a dog is coming at you, like, growling? Yeah, you could slap Ramona, sure. Yeah, sure. Oh my god. Yeah, what about it? Checks up the guy played it. Big game, crashing in the ocean in space. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-mm. You gotta tell me if it is. I'll get it. What? Get both. Dizzy Gobbler, 69. Good. Every guy that's trans, that guy that turned into a girl. Be like you like my glizzy. 'Cause they would. 'Cause they're gay and trans. Last of Us is probably the top 100 in the longest games ever. The Long Dark. Oh, are you talking about that one show? I love that game. The Long Dark. Yeah, don't talk trash about that thing, dude. That thing's it's so good. It's so good. Their gun is amazing. What do you mean again? Looking for it. No. It's pretty good. No, it's not. Oof, that's a big thing. Oh! Ooh! Totally reliable delivery service. Yes! $15. It's the funniest freaking game ever. You can like drive. It's a sandbox. Heck yeah, it is. You can drive cars. You can drive it into the ocean. If you drive out really far, you can find like a duck in the middle of the ocean. It's like Goat Simulator if it was just a little bit more realistic. It's so, dude, it's like Gang Beasts but open world. Yes. Yeah. I'm pretty sure. Dude. I don't think you can really die, but you can definitely get hurt and knock people out. Dude. Even got hot air balloons. Dude, this looks so much fun, doesn't it? Dude, it's Gang Beast open world. Totally reliable delivery service. Or they got a not gonna use. Wow. Really? No. I'm a frickin' I hate you, Ray. You suck. I'm gonna lock you in that room next time. Or I'm trying to find it. Or we could get it's called it is called and it's like the best game ever. I'm trying to find it. Damn, shut up. Farming Simulator. Yeah. Yeah. That's actually... It's a very fun game to play with friends. No, it is. Oh, okay, fine. Submersed. Submersed. Oh, See your mom. I don't know. That's actually not a good game. That's not a good game, to be honest. Here, I'll try and find something good. It doesn't matter because it's a terrible game. How about your no. No, don't. No. The fitness grand basic test is a multi-road. Nice. 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 Alright, so I'm looking at stuff right now and it looks like what was the best one that I found? Let's call. So you already had that, but it's called. Dude, what is it called? I just saw it. Come on. Donut Country. It's not too. Shut up. Shut up. Oh my god. Guts and Glory. No, it's Guts and Glory. Yeah, not Guns and Glory. Guts. It's like Happy Wheels, but more realistic. I wish we could. Yep. Nope. Maybe in the App Store, but not here. I would like for you to try and to get. I would like you to get I don't care if you get it or not, but it would be a good investment. It is called Ultimate Chicken Horse. The best game ever created is Ultimate Chicken Horse. If you don't know what that game is, you can go die in a hole. But go play Ultimate Chicken Horse. Ultimate Chicken Horse. Get Ultimate Chicken Horse, okay? No, check it out. Check it out. Have you already tried? I didn't. I just saw it on YouTube. Did you say Ultimate Chicken Horse or did you say... Yeah, you did say Ultimate Chicken Horse. I thought you said like Ultimate like Bomb Chicken or something. Oh, what about Discovery? Oh, never mind. Discovery sucks. I already have that, but then... Maze! Oh, go back! Go back! I love that game with the teddy bear that talks to you. No, tape Maze, you'll see. No, there's a different one. No, there's a different one. Search up Maze. MAIZE. It's a very funny game. You don't have to get it. I'm just saying it's a single player, but it's the funniest stuff you will ever hear. It's like super realistic too. Maize. It's the stupidest game ever. I watched Jacksepticeye play it. I love this game. What? Yeah, I had that happen to me once. It was terrible, man. You're welcome. This played for less than a millisecond. I don't know when I'm going to my desk. Ah, I dropped my controller. I won't be. This sucks. Thank you. Jesus. that that boy. That's not nice. I'm gonna download what's it called? What's it called again? Starts with. I hate that by Daylight. It's such a bad game though. Why don't you think I'll do the same? That's cool, man. I'm just trying to play Firewatch here, and you're being all mean about it. I'm playing Firewatch. What are you playing? Simulator.
Hello, Henry. Having a nice afternoon?
I'm trying to, but okay.
Look, I called
Same.
with bad news. Two young Jesse Stevens and Lily McLean were reported missing. They've got parents out in California who haven't heard from them in a week. They were supposed to have an aunt down in Cody. If they're the girls from last
it's Ben.
And it's James again.
And this is day 9, a story-only day. There's not a lot to do.
Yeah, primarily you just eat a sandwich, but there was at one point gonna be elks. In the sort of framing of the beautiful sunset across the canyon, there was gonna be a very majestic herd of elks. And in fact, this is why we made the elk rig, as far as I recall, because now the only other places in the game where you see it are, there's a dead one, which is optional and apparently quite hard to find.
Yeah, most people miss that one.
Yeah, there's one in the intro, but we made them so they could majestically stalk through the canyon in a herd. Well, actually, I made an elk walk cycle and nibbling on grass animations.
All I gotta do is whistle. What are you doing?
We did all this weird, like, sort of conjecture about like how we could implement this. And it's uneven.
What was that, bro?
There's winding passages through the cavern. Like, well, maybe we could do some kind of elk navigation.
Yep. What was that? Dude, I can kind of just, I mean, yeah. Good. No one. No one. Absolute. What? Ah, yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. Think about something. Can't. Need you be that?
You're a big dumb idiot.
Sure. Why you say he? Because we actually safely. Actually, yes. What? You're so mean. No, you. Wait, you say Ashley or Ashlyn? You did not actually get her snap. If you did, screenshot yourself asking her. No, not her. Not her. No, I didn't ask for it on the PS4. No, she doesn't.
Is it too much of a pain in the ass to bring supplies all the way up to our towers?
Yeah, but.
I get my stuff hand delivered.
Oh, how's that work?
Yeah, but dude.
It's the perks of a decade of service. You're out hiking in 90-degree heat, and I get to do crosswords. Isn't life miserably unfair? Anyway, when you find the supply drop, remember it's not just for you, okay? Other lookouts, biologists, a few people get their food there, and
What?
don't want to have to call in for more.
Exactly.
Loads of good stuff though: beans, prunes, jerky.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. Wait, what?
You have a
She doesn't actually have a mic though. She's a.
Delilah about Julia or not. You can choose to have.
If she doesn't, just I don't know if I would want to talk. I don't even talk to her at all anymore.
Lying or just sort of playing it soft, and all of that stuff now comes to a head here on day 33. And
You say macaroon?
all the choices you make. There's something like
Whatever.
30 lines of inquiry, but you can experience 4. I think there's like 33 maybe.
Your mom.
You'll experience 4, and whatever is true.
She doesn't have a mic, and that's kind of sus. Cause if you think about it, just guess.
Where she wants to know either about
Well,
Julia, a name she heard on day 15.
not well, kind of, cause she ordered her mic like a month ago or 2.
Her experiences with a guy named And a lot of
Yeah, I
players will play
know.
this game and never even know who Javier is. It might
Frickin'.
be you. You might not know that that character exists because of the way you talked to Delilah on day 2.
You learn more about Delilah if you tell her less about
How much you
yourself.
want to bet customs a
Especially
guy?
the polls. So if you tell her absolutely everything, or you tell her
I
absolutely
kind of bet that
you
he
learn a lot
slash
about her.
she is a
The way you
guy.
make these work on day 2 is kind of interesting. There's a lot of sort of state management going on. We're paying attention to a lot of stuff. One is just how long has it been since you've talked to Delilah? But then we also kind of need to know how long has it been since Delilah has talked to you about some heavy life stuff? Because if she keeps calling you back and being like, so, tell me about your life. So, wife, huh? Girlfriend? Blah, blah. It's just going to feel, at best, annoying, and at worst, completely unbelievable. So we're also tracking that. And then we also don't want Delilah calling you, like, all the time. Like, we don't want her calling you when we know there's a good chance you're about to discover something big in the mystery. Like, you're about to climb to the top of the wire on day 2. And we don't want her to be like, so, girlfriend? That would be bad. So what we did is we actually paced the game out by putting these invisible sort of, like, cube triggers all over the world. And, I mean, I probably placed, I don't know, 30, 40 of them. And as you enter them,
You say you're gay.
sort of ask itself,
Ha!
how long
True.
has it been since Delilah's called you? How long has it been she talked about
No, I
Delilah?
didn't.
And what is true? What does she know to be true about
No.
Julia? And it was a little hard to debug, but we
What's
built a pretty, like,
LGBTQ?
clean-looking. At least I tried to build a really clean.
Ah, get that out of here.
Machine for it. But ultimately, I'm really happy with the way it played out, in that it feels like you are wandering through the world, and the conversation unfolds naturally. But furthermore, it
Now,
was
how
really
do you
fun to
know? How
actually
does no
build
one
once I
know
had it
that?
working, because I could pace the game by physically.
They should add an F in there for fairy.
Oh, that was too soon. Like, spread these apart. Delete that one. Put that one over here. Put that one in.
They should add an F in there for fairy.
Satisfying way to tell this part of the story.
No, for fairy. Why?
For the rest of the summer. And she doesn't have a name yet. I usually think it's
What are you
something
watching?
funny or something practical or a little risque when coming up with them. But why don't you do the honors?
Delilah's a nice name.
No, you big dummy.
I was kidding.
No, you were not. You're sweet, but... So there's this creek down the hill.
Oh my god, dude, you really need to get some frickin' beeswax on that, man.
What's that?
I love to take a bottle of whatever I have on hand, plunge it deep into the water, and let it chill in there all day. And then, on nights like tonight, when it is so disgustingly hot, I have something nice and cool to drink. I learned that from my sister in Santa Fe. She'd do that with a bottle of tequila near her house and make margaritas the size of your head. You'd like it there.
I've had one too many bad experiences with tequila. I'm a little reticent to try it again.
Shawty like a melody in her head.
Good experience with it.
Yeah, maybe.
Are you looking at the fire?
No, I'm not.
You should. Let me know when you are.
Your mom's so fat, she doesn't even know it. I love that song. Did you follow my new account? How dare you? You simp. You need to follow my new account. Oh, that one person. Thank you. Wait, which one? Okay, yeah. Well, I don't know. That didn't. That was like, I don't know. It's kind of weird. Here, wait, hold up. I'm gonna end my stream. Sorry, guys. See you later.